Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been a while. Today I'm bringing you a piece of content that I'm very excited about. It's sort of a look behind the curtain, as it were. I reached out to Brian Coval the other day. This is taking place about a week or so before Eternal Weekend. We are trying to figure out what deck we want to play, nailing down some sideboarding plans, stuff like that. And so we decided to set up a testing session where I'm going to take the Bug Beanstalk deck that I have been playing and testing, and he's going to take one of the four-color control decks that did well at Eternal Week in Asia, which just took place, and we're going to see how that matchup feels, because I think that if we can see that the Bug deck is not terrible against the bigger control deck, then there's a lot of reasons to just be three colors. Your mana base is a lot simpler. Your Delver matchup gets a little better because of the presence of Daze, for example, things like that. We're also testing a couple sideboard plans. So I have these two cards, Leovold and Force of Vigor, that I think that in my final build of the deck, I only have room for one of them. You'll see right now there's only one Surgical Extraction in the list. Usually most lists play two Surgical and then like maybe one additional piece of Graveyard Hate for the Reanimator deck. You kind of have to be very prepared for that in terms of the number of cards you play. So we're going to see which one of these feels better into control as well, and kind of use that as our basis for which one to cut. So we have a couple matches set up for you, and then in between them, we're going to do a little bit of debrief, talk about what went well, what went wrong, things like that. So let's hop right in. All right, so game one on the play. We have two lands here. I think I'm just going to cycle this Lorien Revealed in end step. Even knowing the matchup, I still don't want to ponder just because I think I'm going to ponder next turn. One quick thing with Bug, you almost always want to start by fetching the Trop. Just because if you're going to play a cantrip on turn 2, you want to start by fetching the Trop because of the card Thoughtseize. Though here I just drew the Stifle, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, third land, second Ponder is probably pretty good. I should have drawn the Ponder in case I want to force pit something, but we'll see if it comes back to bite us. Okay, they don't have things to do. Either that or they're playing around. Stifle. I'm going to ponder here. I'm looking for Beanstalk at this point. Although Wasteland's not bad. I'm going to learn from my... No! I was just about to say I'm going to learn from my mistake, and then I misclicked. I wanted to draw the force here. But, again, surely it won't matter. If they do fetch once, I was going to say I will let it happen. Yeah, I'm going to get super punished for this. For not fetching, or not drawing the force here. Awful. If they fetch a second time, I will try to stifle it. I'm going to pick a fight here. The nice thing about this is that if they force here, they're not drawing a card off their Beanstalk, and then I can follow up with the with a Boom Command. Okay, didn't matter. And I want to be rebuying Wastelands here. I'm going to... Do I care to take them off Beanstalk? Mana. Yeah, I think I prefer Beanstalk over Bowmaster here. Like, I could give them Beanstalk mana, or I could give them Bowmaster mana, is basically my thought process right now. I think there's a bio under here, yeah. So I'm just going to wasteland them again. So I mill 3. Maybe I want to mill them. In general, you want to mill yourself, but in this case, I already have kind of a stocked graveyard, and I feel like potentially I could mill some fetchables, but I think I'm gonna not be too cute and just mill myself. It's like, oh, what if I mill, another one of their green sources? Wouldn't that be cool? I guess. And then waste an upkeep. So I'll see what they get first. Yeah, still wastelanding it here. I don't want them to have access to 3 mana. Not even for a moment. All right. So this kind of signals Leyline Binding, just because they didn't bother to get green, and now they have all their 4 colors. Do I want to do it again? I mean, kind of, right? Like, what else am I doing here? I'm actually going to wait. What can they do scary on 3 mana? I guess Teferi is something scary that I don't really have a good answer to right now. Yeah, I guess it's just not worth it to potentially mill them into Uro. We did mill a Beanstalk. A little unfortunate, but that's okay. So now, do we want to hit the black source again, or do we want to hit the white source? I think we want to hit the black source. That's fine. So at this point, I think we're looking for a Bowmaster of our own or a Beanstalk. One trick you can do with Beanstalk is I could play it out and then with the draw trigger on the stack, I could cut the Bowmaster just so that it only triggers once against me. That's usually pretty good. All right, so we've between Wasteland and Stifle, we have destroyed 5 of our opponent's lands. Let's see if it will or be enough. Is it a 5 or is it only 3? 1, 2, 3. I feel like I've wastelanded 3 times and Stifled. Yeah, okay, so 4 total lands. We'll get there. The deck does play a lot of mana sources, though, for specifically this reason. Oh, I think this will just draw them too many cards if I let it resolve. And I'm already out of use my Witherbloom commands. I think at the time it was correct to do so, but a little annoying. Yeah. My sense is what they have some number of Leyline Binding in hand. My goal right now is I'm going to cut this in end step. I guess I'll just cut it now. What's the harm? I guess I'll just get a daze out of there. And then ideally fetch. Fetch back Lorien Revealed. They're showing black mana now, though. Not anymore. Another line I could have taken was just... Oh, they're still showing it. They can't fetch Bayou, though. I think I just have to go for it. So I was going to say another line I could have taken was to get back Witherbloom Command and kill the Bowmaster and wasteland them again, but I kind of figured that I didn't want to do that. It just felt like too low impact. These guys are not much higher impact. That's okay. At least Daze can rebuy Sanctuary. Unfortunately, we're getting to the point of the game where Uro's going to take over, likely. Which is certainly a problem. Yeah, I'll play a little bit longer, but I think we're just a little bit behind. We did the whole mana denial thing for a while, but we just didn't get our engine set up. Like, we didn't find any Beanstalks of our own, basically. So we just didn't really have the opportunity to be proactive. Dang it, and we're one land short of that, too. And if I daze, I can't. Okay, fine. All right, we'll play out a little bit longer. We'll see if we get a sick run of cards, you know. Would love to daze this, to rebuy Sanctuary, to rebuy Lorien, but I don't think we have the time for that. I can just fetch again and escape it again. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we get a sick run. Sick run of cards. All right, that's not it. I will concede. Uro's still good for the non-Sword Supply Shares decks. Yeah, like even this, we kind of peg them for having a removal spell in hand. But that's what the sideboard's for. So in general, my cuts are 2 push, 2 cut. I like to cut the Thoughtseize just because it's tempo negative. And then I cut the Force Negation. Edict is nice just because it can hit Teferi as well. I know it doesn't trigger Beanstalk, but that's still okay. But yeah, basically our goal is to out-tempo them, so Thoughtseize is kind of bad in that regard. And then we're going to bring in this. This time we're going to try Leovold. If we get a game 3, I'll try the Force of Vigor. I like bringing in Deed for Carpet, potentially 4th Aerolingus, etc. Carpet and Veil. And I don't bring any Hydroblast. It's basically just 4th that comes in. I was cutting 1 additional card. What card was that? Oh, the Island. Yeah, so basically you swap the Island for the Swamp so that you can make their Carpet of Flowers worse, basically. And then 61's fine. Basically, the thought process behind 61 is that you want to cut half of a land, basically, because the games go really long and you don't want to flood, but you don't want to cut a full land. That's a little bit too much. And you can conceivably get all your fetchables throughout the game. You know, you only play 8 fetchables, so you don't want to go down to 7. All right. Hand's definitely a keep. Hand is definitely very good because we have a Beanstalk in it. Of course, hopefully try to find some green mana. Wasteland plus Slitherwood command can helpfully keep them off. Winter Orb is great. I think I want Orb over the second command, at least for now. And they're not fetching, which means that they don't have to ponder for more mana sources, basically. Here I'm going to get Chopper Bayou to play around Carpet of Flowers. I think I'm going to start with Bayou here. If they play out a Beanstalk, I think I just let it resolve and then command it, and then if they force, I get to force back, and it's just fine, basically. We kind of saw that the commands were good previously, but could have been better, basically. Ooh, double basic. Interesting. I think I just run out the Leovold. You could make an argument for Orb, but it's like, in general, you want to use Orb after they've tapped 3 or 4 lands, and it really sets them back. Also, they didn't even think about that at all, so it makes me less susceptible of, or I suspect Force of Will less, basically. I'm kind of okay with whatever they're binding here. And they're targeting this. Got a little card advantage. Found a Stifle. Quite solid. And then playing Wasteland, or using Wasteland and then playing Winter Orb doesn't really make sense. So again, I'm going to hold it. Right. I'm just going to trade the Stifle for an Uro trigger. Just want to make sure I don't stifle the wrong one, So this way they can't put another land in. They're stuck on 3. So we can do both Orb and Murktide with Force backup. And that just resolved, which is very good for us. I'll get the drop here. Another Beanstalk is a solid hit. And if they swords this, it is still a +1, so it's not that bad. In fact, I'd probably let the swords go here, just because I want to work into second Beanstalk plus Force of Will, basically. And it doesn't look like they have it. Alright, let's think. Binding would cost 3 here. So definitely one of the downsides of binding is that if you get Wastelanded off one of your off colors, it can be very painful, basically. I'm likely just untapping the Wasteland here. At this point, I will force a binding just because it's their whole turn and it draws me 2 cards. Oh, okay. They drew red mana. Yeah, I think I want to put the hooks in. Deed looking a little silly here when we have our stuff in, but Deed is basically a card you want when you're coming from behind. And I'm going to waste the green source just because it keeps the binding costing 3 mana. The C will make it 2, of course, but it's okay. Did choose to shuffle. I'm going to untap the Trop just because we could draw a Carpet of Flowers. It'd be very good. Right, we're a little ways away from that. It's okay, though. I wonder if we want to brainstorm to find a fetch land. And if we play that, we can get back Force of Will. I think the answer is no. I think I'm just going to untap my lands. We're very close to double Witherblooming them out of the game, which is good. Yeah. Uro, not the best versus an active Winter Orb. That being said, they could still kill us Murktide. They do have 3 cards in hand to do it. Alright, it looks like they don't have that, so I'm just going to attempt to do this. They could Veil of Summer it, but again, that's like a mana. They can't. Okay, cool. Winter Orb. So yeah, definitely this is the things going right. So Leo was fine there. It was a nice little 2-for-1. Force of Vigor might have been solid too, just because we could have let both bindings resolved and then Vigor them and get back our stuff. So like I said, I'm basically testing which of these I want to play in my deck because I think I only have room for 1. I would really like a second Surgical, so I have 3 pieces of Graveyard Hate in total. I think Deed is a one where it's like, it's not a card I love against them, but his hand is not great. Doesn't mean we have to mulligan it. It does have Wasteland. It does have Bowmaster. going to try mulliganing this one. This one seems a little better. I will bottom the Edict. Yeah, Edict feels like a necessary evil. I mean, I guess I'll ponder. Can find things like Daze or black mana. Or Beanstalk. Solid. Okay, so they're getting the lounge. I wonder if that means they already have green mana. It means they do have green mana. Okay. Alright. Not good. So definitely a little bit behind here. I'm going to try starting with this. Yes. What if I just played the Bowmaster this turn? And then even if they kill it, I basically, at least I have a 2-2. If they force, it's not the best, but that's okay. Oh, I meant to grab up Bayou there. I was monologuing. You caught me monologuing. So this is much worse against a carpet if they have it. Feels like maybe they cut their Force of Wills post sideboard. So now it's like at least I have things in play, and then next turn I can start wastelanding them. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. I guess that's the argument to not wasteland. Or to wasteland, I should say. Well... At least that resolved. I will waste the Xander's Lounge. Yeah. Right, well, this is the spot where Force of Vigor will be good if I draw it. And here I'm going to leave up the black mana. I should. It's close. It's like Bowmaster versus. That's true. Some of these lists play like a Spell Piercer or a Flusterstorm or something. I'm gonna wasteland them again. Figure out what I want to hit. Take them off of green or black. I think because I have a Brainstorm in hand, I want to cut them off Bowmaster mana. Also, because I already hit a black, so it's like, you know, if I find a third wasteland for the Bayou, that'd be pretty good. Right, well, they can't Bowmaster me. I'm gonna lead on the Ponder actually. Yeah. I don't hate it. We're certainly behind. They have a Beanstalk in play, and we don't. And they have one more card in hand than we do, so could potentially be rough. But they look like they're a little bit crimped on mana. I am going to Brainstorm. I think I just need to dig for stuff. Right, so I think this is bad, and maybe the Daze has lost its allure, but I mean, I could just play the Murktide. I got a drop here. So I could play the Murktide with Daze backup. I kind of want to wait and hope to Luck Sack into a Beanstalk before I do that. And I can hold up the Bowmaster here. Yeah, maybe we do this. And then this is like our bait spell. Where like if they have a Swords to Plowshares, they'll probably use it here. Yeah. So I think we're a little behind, so I'm hoping that they don't have a third Swords to Plowshares. Okay, so that can get Lorien. That's pretty good. And I'm going to tap 3 for this Murktide. 4, 5. Oop. I guess I want this to be 7 power, so that or I guess I want it to be like at least 6 power, so it kills in 2 hits. 10, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Please no third Swords to Plowshares. But they've been missing on land, so it's like, what could they have in hand? It's probably something like that, you know? Right, I'm going to try. Okay, so first I'm going to. Actually, yeah, because I need to fetch first. So I'm going to fetch for Sanctuary. Bring back Lorien. And then. And then I will Daze. I guess I can do. Oh. I guess I could just hardcast the Daze. I was thinking I could bring back the Sanctuary, but like, if I do, then let's see. If I bring back the Sanctuary and play it, then I have to get back Brainstorm and Daze if I want to get back something. I don't think I want either of those cards right now. Maybe the Daze is okay. Actually, maybe Daze is okay just because I can Daze the Sanctuary again later and get back the Lorien. So I'm going to Daze this. This does go to the Murktide again, notably. You know, if I had made it an 8-8, or if I had made it one bigger, they would be at 1, which would be good, obviously. So yeah, I'll bring back the Daze. And again, it's not really that I'm trying to Daze a spell. It's more that I want the Mystic Sanctuary back so I can reveal it another time. Card that would get me here is Carpet. Carpet of Flowers would be brutal. Because like right now they need to answer 2 things. All right, I think we got a little lucky at the end there. If they just draw like another mana source, they certainly would have had it. But you know, I'm sure they have some black cards in hand. The 4th color isn't free. So yeah, that was the match.
Okay, we are between matches 1 and however many we play, and I have Pokemoki on the line here, and we're gonna talk about how that just went. And so from my side, or I guess say hi.
Hey, how's it going?
So from my side, this felt like a pretty classic. I'm the control deck, and you're the attacking deck, and if I can get out of your squeeze, I win. And game 1, you wastelanded me 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, I think I denied 5 lands. I think between Wasteland and Stifle.
Yeah, and I just kept hitting land drops, and then Uro won the game. And you never had a draw engine, you never had a threat, and eventually just ran out of cards. And then the subsequent games, the opposite happened. The Winter Orb was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
In game 2, after I had to answer Leovolds, it was just like potent card for the matchup into potent card for the matchup. And then game 3, it was you correctly picked off my weird colored lands with your it was a smaller number of wastelands, but I was
Yeah.
missing land drops, and I couldn't keep domain up under me. And then
Mm-hmm.
on that last turn, your last card was just daze,
Yeah.
where even like wasteland, like some colorless source, I think stabilizes that game for me. You
Yes.
still fire Luring Revealed on the following turn, but without Murktide there, I'm drawing cards, I'm pulling ahead.
I agree.
Right. So, how did it feel from your side?
Yeah. I think that those games were actually a pretty good example of like the different ways the matchup can play out. Like you said, it's kind of like it's almost like the bug deck is trying to contain some sort of liquid, where it's always on the verge of spilling out and spilling over, and then once it's out, you can't really get it back in. Like once Uro is going, I can't really catch up to that in any way. But sometimes the bug deck does establish its card advantage engines before the control deck can. Like you both played before Beanstalks, just some percentage of the time the bug deck will have more of them. And then, yeah, Game 3 was, a similar situation where, I think that on the whole, Binding is a much stronger card than Murderous Cut, but it's not free. Like it definitely has some of its downsides, and just picking off both the black sources definitely helped there. And we saw a game where Bug was able to win without an engine, but just enough to faint over the finish line, we'll say.
Right. Yeah. Murktide Region, flipping the script, just made that being a 4 of in your list. A lot of the beat decks are like they have like 2 of that or whatever in addition to their other stuff they're doing, and you're just like, nope, I got 4.
Yeah, this is the one you want, I think, just because it's a blue card, and then it kills very quickly, and it synergizes with itself very well. Where they grow each other. So it's definitely been performing well for me. There's definitely some times where it's like you draw 2 Murktides and a Murderous Cut, and you don't draw a Witherbloom command, for the help with the self mill, and that kind of comes back to bite you. But I think on the whole, you want the full 4.
Yeah, you mentioned it being a blue card, which was a texture of the matchup that I identified in our post board games because I think I'm supposed to board out many, if not all, of my forces,
Mm-hmm.
which is because I have like Veil, Fluster, Carpets, Deed was on my maybe list. Not sure if it's supposed to be in, but it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have Force of Will because that's the cut at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into those board states where maybe we both have a bean, maybe you just do. And you definitely have some critical mass of forces in because you're the attacking deck.
Yeah.
And that did feel like I imagine we're gonna play more games, so maybe there's a spot where like you have to force something and I just fail it and then you lose on the spot.
Yeah.
Maybe we see the flip side coming down
Uh-huh.
the lane here.
Yes.
But in those games it was like, well, you're tapped out with 4 cards in hand and 2 beanstalks. I don't think I can win here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that you are right that the control deck just has enough things to bring in, and when you don't have the beanstalk, the forces are kind of bad. And when you do, like when you have one, it's still just a 1-for-1, and you have to turn a blue card into a random card, which is generally worse because blue is the best color.
Objectively.
Yeah. So it's like it's not free, and then when it's bad, it's bad. I think on my end, I just need to hope that the forces line up well. But yeah, sometimes that's just how you get tempoed out, I guess.
Right. In our game 1, where we both were just like jockeying for having more than 2 lands in play at any point.
Yeah.
And then I eventually found a beanstalk, and I was like, okay, this is where he's gonna like bowmaster me and start applying pressure, and you just forced it instead. I was pretty sure I had won.
Yes.
And like I had a bowmaster that whole game as well, and I was like, I'm not gonna play my bowmaster first because I knew this kills mine. And then once you had to force my beanstalk, I was like, oh, we're clear, and just started bashing.
Yeah. Being
so, like,
sorry, go ahead.
Those patterns matters a lot.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely was like, okay, I'm going to use the Witherbloom command to get back Wasteland, but I'm not the happiest about it because, if they eventually draw and play a Beanstalk, that's bad for me. However, them getting to the third mana source to potentially play Uro or Teferi or what have you is also not ideal. And I obviously don't know which one's in hand. So um, I think it's like a fine play to make, but then it's like, I used both my commands, and then the Beanstalk came down. It's like, dang it. All right, I guess that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the Beanstalk, and when you had to drain me for 2 twice on those commands, I didn't want to get wastelanded, but also like I had
It's Sinkhole, yeah.
I had held the Bowmaster forever.
Yes,
So
smart.
the -3/-1 mode just went unspent on both of those commands.
Mm-hmm.
My life total matters, but like there was a spot where neither of us had ever played a creature, and I was at 13 and you were at 22. And I was like, well, that's actually big against a Murktide deck.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as good as a card.
Yes.
Those light points will eventually go away.
Yes, I agree. It's definitely not as good as a card. I will say this deck uses the Drain 2 on Witherman like way more often than any other command deck I've played, just because it is slightly more aggressive. And then the thing you mentioned, you definitely want to be the slightly bigger Bowmaster deck in general, because of that dynamic where, because your late game is better, the onus is on me to pressure you. So it's like, I'm the one who's more likely to run out a Bowmaster with no target, which is really good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
You only have 8 ways to actually win the game.
Yes.
4 of them die to my 4 Bowmasters.
Yes. Yeah.
If I'm willing or able to be patient about it.
Yeah. That is a good point. That if the list, because I've been talking about the list a little bit more, people can start like dissecting the list and like look for vulnerabilities, and the 8 win cons is definitely something that if you didn't know the full list, you wouldn't be playing to that out. Not you, I'm just saying like people in general, but because it might be more known at this point, that's something that people can look to target.
Yeah, I did a lot of that in the Izzet Delver dominance era,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like they have 12 threats in their deck, and I have like 4 plows, 4 endings,
Yeah.
and then Mystic Sanctuary, and then Supreme Verdict,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually just count. And
Yeah.
eventually, I won a lot of games by decking versus
Yeah.
Delver.
Yeah, for sure.
And we definitely get a bit of that here.
Mm-hmm.
Like the list I'm playing has 8 removal spells in the plows and the bindings, and then 2 Terminus, which is impermanent, and then the 4 Bowmasters, which line up against your Bowmasters, but don't line up against your Murktides.
Yeah.
With judicious use of resources,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of just hard lock you,
Yes.
in like the mid game.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and then you have the 4th Arrowling, or I assume there's the 4th. Not every deck runs it, but I think at this point, the one of is becoming the go-to in the Beanstalk decks rather than like the Murktide Hullabaloo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my list does have 1/4.
Yeah, that's something that you can just wait for that. Do you have the Mystic Sanctuary?
I do.
Okay, yeah, because that's one thing. This is just a side note, as I'm testing Control as well, potentially for Eternal Weekend. I want the basic island, and I also want the Mystic Sanctuary, and I'm not sure if the Mana Base can support both. But that's something we'll also be looking at for sure.
Yeah, and that's something I said. I did a little deck tech intro before we started our matches just by myself, and I just copied one of the top 8 lists from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I can't call this like my list, but this list has 1 Wasteland, 1 Island, 1 Plains, and 1 Mystic Sanctuary. They're just doing all of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I have found that you kind of have to
pick 2 or 3.
pick like 2 of these 4 things, because this list has Bayou, Wasteland, Plains, and Savannah that don't trigger Sanctuary.
Yeah.
And it's just asking a lot of it, but if the game goes long enough, I mean, if you just never naturally draw your Sanctuary, it's fine, and probably even good, but if you do, it's frequently going to be tapped.
Yeah.
Like turn 5 or 6.
Yeah. I can see the idea behind Wasteland. It's something Control decks have played for a while, and hitting something like Cavern of Souls and or Urza Saga is quite good, but I think that you just draw so many cards these days if you get your engine set up that it's like it's okay to potentially 2-for-1 yourself against Saga construct tokens, or like a token plus whatever they get. Or like you'll find something to force eventually out of initiative, and in the meantime, like Terminus can help take care of that. Like I think that with the Terminuses, you don't need the Wasteland is kind of the short of what I'm trying to say here. In my personal testing, yeah.
That's a really interesting and useful observation because I don't imagine many deck builders are thinking about Terminus and Wasteland as answers to the same problem.
Yeah.
And if the problem we're trying to solve is like Cavern of Souls and Urza Saga, actually, it does check those boxes.
Yeah.
In kind of a roundabout way.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think I about drained my thoughts. Do you want to hop into another game?
Yeah, let's play another game.
All right, sounds great. All right, back for the second game. This hand looks pretty solid. It attempts to establish Beanstalk superiority. No stifle this time. Ooh, and they don't have a Beanstalk. That's very good. So I think I want to get mine down because if they have to force it, it's bad. And for them, it's bad for them. And if they don't force it at that point, I could potentially draw a blue card for this force. I'm going to fetch to thin. I think that's better than holding up Bowmasters because, like we've talked about, the dynamic of Bowmasters is that you want to play your second if you can. And because they fetched the Xander's Lounge on turn 1 and didn't play Beanstalk on turn 2, it just means Bowmasters is a more likely holding for them. Basically whenever you can eliminate a card from their hand, it makes it that much more likely that the other cards are cards I do have in hand. So that was solid. It was a +1. Obviously, they have some scary 3-drops like Uro and Teferi. Do I want to force this? I don't think so. I play Witherloom commands. And I'm about to have a Beanstalk. Do I want to ponder here? So the issue is they can just Binding for 1 mana again. And this can potentially kill my other Beanstalk. I almost want to ponder for Wasteland and or Witherloom command. All right, I'm actually going to leave up Spell Pierce this turn. Spell Pierce and Bowmaster. Basically, if they tap out for something like Teferi or Uro, then like next turn, I can potentially play the... I'm going to let this happen just because if they Bowmaster my Bowmaster, that's really bad with Beanstalk and Ponder and stuff coming up. So here at the very least, they can't really tap out for... they can tap out for Uro, but if they do, then I get to Bowmaster and start putting some pressure on. Yeah, they keep leaving up Bowmasters, so I'm just going to let it ride. Spell Pierce is potentially a good card. And then I think there's another Murktide under that, which I don't mind just because it draws a card. So I'm going to lead on the Beanstalk. Obviously, I don't have the resources currently to... I don't really want to play the Ponder yet either. Because if they Bowmaster me, then I can't Bowmaster theirs back. I think I'm just going to Spell Pierce this. It's a good opportunity for it. Obviously, we're taking a -1 here because they draw a card off Beanstalk, but they don't have that many answers to Beanstalk. It is just 4 Leyline Bindings. Jesus. Fourth Erlangus would be rough right now, which it looks like that's what they're tapping for. Oh, and they didn't draw a card, so they really are worried about days. I think I need to keep the Ponder. I want a Wasteland, and I want to play Murktide, and I want to... and I want to hold up Bowmaster. I guess I don't really need to hold up Bowmaster, though. That's something that we've kind of determined is not necessary. So I will just Ponder here. I guess I could put the Force on top. I'm going to Ponder first. Those are all good. I'll cut them off black mana. This way, if they like do some cantrippy thing, I potentially can Bowmaster them. So it's like, do I want to play the Murktide or do I want to play the Sorin's Ransom? I guess the Murktide kind of cuts them off some shit. No, but then I draw the fetch land too. I don't want to draw the fetch land here. I'd rather Ransom. So I know Murktide and Misty are 2 of the top 4 cards. I think it's more important to Ransom than to Bowmaster. Chooses to not shuffle. I assume there's a land in my future. Loam! Yeah. Alright, I will respond. Loam's so good here. It's not a card that every list is running, but I've liked Loam for a long time, so I'm a big fan. So it was Murktide, fetch land. I'm forgetting the fetch land at this point in time. I think it was Misty, but I can't quite recall. So it's like Murktide land or these 2 cards that don't really do anything. I think Murktide land is a little better. We can eventually brainstorm some lands back. So I have 2 lands and a bunch of unknowns in hand right now. That's an awful draw. Well, it's not the worst. I mean, I guess we just play it. One, 2, 3, 4. I guess 5. And I guess I'll do this now. Just to play around like hardcast Force of Negation or something. Could also find Force of Will. Let's see. So we did have to pitch 1 Murktide Regent. So there's only 1 more Murktide in the deck. And 3 more Bowmasters. If this Murktide untaps, or if Murktide gets to attack, we can at least start looting, but I think given how the game has played out, that's pretty unlikely. They haven't really forced anything, and they have 4 unknowns in hand, so my guess is that one of them at least is a source of Plowshares. And I think Bowmasters is one of them, just based on how they left up mana. I'm going to choose the 3. That's one of the things I was worried about, is like, I really don't want to be milling the second Murktide. Or the last Murktide, I should say. We'll discard the land. Fatal Push does answer Bowmaster. And they did choose to mill. Ooh, and they milled an Uro. That's problematic. Yeah. That's quite bad for me. And the problem here is that they can just do this, like, every turn, basically. Whoa. Oh, no, they do have double green. I don't know what I'm thinking. I think they have 1 land in Loam and 3 unknowns, but it's about to be 4 unknowns. It's definitely a card that I was looking for. I'll lead on this land. So green. I'm just going to fetch now. Get a Underground Sea. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I'll take the Wasteland. And then I will one thing I could have and probably should have done, I was gonna say maybe I could fetch an upkeep so that I could do it twice in a row, but that opens me up to like hardcast Force of Will. So the nice thing about Daze here is that it does, in fact, trigger Fatal Push. Or it does trigger Revolt, sorry. That's the word I was looking for. This is going to be a close one. So they have 2 lands, 4 unknowns in hand. I think I do want to Daze here, just to... So I can... Well, one, it gets a card in the yard. And then 2, it can bring back the Force of Will, which I think I'm going to need. So yeah, I'll Daze here. They played around it, dang. And then with the draw trigger on the stack, I'm going to try and Fatal Push this. Much worse than Swords to Plowshares. So they have 1 land, I think it's an island, and 5 unknowns. 5 unknowns is a lot. Definitely going to be tough to get through this. So I will put the Force of Will back on top. Play the Beanstalk. Could draw my Thoughtseize here, which wouldn't be bad. I think I have 1 more Trop left in the deck. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I'll discard the island. Here. Yeah, so I think I have to fight over this just because I'm running low on win cons. Uh-oh. It's a lot of pings, but also it like doesn't really matter. Whoa. They're going after the Murktide. I guess my life total doesn't really matter so much, and if I have like another force effect, then it would kill this Murktide. That's fair. It does mean that the Sanctuary can't get back the 4th Aerlingus, though. Alright, so is there any chance I can deck my opponent? Unclear. They are at more cards than me. However, I'm almost out of ways to draw off of Beanstalk. And I can mill them with Witherbloom Command. So I guess that's the goal now. So I'll start by thought seizing them. I will take the Teferi. That one is more troublesome. Whatever. I'm at 33. What am I doing? I'm actually going to let them draw a card here? Question mark. I figured maybe I could bait them into doing something silly. Like, oh, they didn't respond to my Ura. They must not have Bowmaster. Clearly, the only other option is, to cast Lorien Revealed here. Obviously this is... Alright, so I think they are casting the Lorien Revealed. Oh. Honestly, no, that's fine. I was thinking like maybe I just flash in both Bowmasters, or like flash into Bowmasters and force negation it, but any order. So now if they go for the Lorien, of course, I will play out the Bowmaster. That is my last fetchable. I mean, I guess I'll play Brainstorm. What a weird game. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll do this. I don't want to draw the cut. I just kind of draw a bunch of cards. I kind of want to wait for that Wasteland. Just because. So do I have any Dazes left in the deck? I don't think I do. Yeah, both Dazes are gone. That's rough. How many Bowmasters do they have left? 3. Yikes. They are also going to clean up. Didn't even want to play the land out. Oh, maybe... I don't know. Unclear. That's fine. Alright, cast. Target player mills 3, kill this. Target you, kill this. Green, black. Obviously getting back the... I feel like this is worth forcing. There's so many cards we just neither of us can cast right now. I would like the Bowmasters here. Because if they force this, they still draw 2 cards and trigger Bowmaster twice. I do mill, whatever the Brainstorm. This is a really close game. So we're done with 3 swords, so there's 1 swords left. And all the forces. The funny thing is I can just... yeah. the the orc army is going to be bigger. Or we'll trade with the Uro here, which is hilarious because it means I'm not worried about anything. Oh no, they have Wasteland. Hmm. I'll wait one more. I'll draw one more card. So here I'll edict them. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. If they force this, they draw 2 cards, and the orc army is bigger than the Uro, so it can attack. Attacking is good. I do have one more swords. I could force the swords, but like, yeah, I'll just attack. So they have 3 Force of Wills, 2 Lorien Revealeds, a couple Bowmasters. Yeah, wow. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I should have made this a little longer. Yeah, I'm gonna ask him if he wants to just start a new game. I think one big thing that helped me a lot was that they never had a good opportunity to sanctuary back their 4th Aerlingus. They also decided to play around Days and not draw a card with it off Beanstalk, which is not wrong by any sense of the, or by any stretch of the, matter, but was definitely good for me. So they chose to shuffle. I mean, if they chose to shuffle, I'm just going to Wasteland them. I think the early game is generally better for the bug deck. You play... Oh, okay. You play like Days and Wasteland and things of this nature. I will cycle Lorien Revealed here. Oh, maybe not. Alright, so they're fetching a basic island and they're casting Ponder. I am going to Spell Pierce this Ponder. What land do I get? I guess I cut the Thoughtseize, so I'm going to get the Tropical Island. And I will cycle the Lorien Revealed here, assuming that I don't want to play Bowmasters. So yeah, I think Leovold is better early game, and then Force of Vigor is much better in like the mid to late game. I'm just going to not play out the carpet. A couple reasons. If you play Force of Will, I don't want them to force something and avoid going to discard. Alright, now I will play it. Will I? What if I just did this? No. I don't want to get Flusterstormed. They are also like just close to going to discard. Alright, I will start running things out. I think because both of these play around Flusterstorm, it's worth it. I'm going to run out the Bowmasters. They don't have black mana, and I do have a Witherbloom command to answer a Bowmaster if they play it. And I have an answer for Carpet, so I am just going to get a Trop here. And if this gets swords, then that was always going to happen, basically. Yeah, that's fine. Now I get to ransom off of Carpet mana. And Murktide, Jesus Christ. Okay, so yes. So I guess in that case... I'm still going to make black. And then I can just tap 3. Use the black and tap 2 blue lands. You know me. I'm never not taking the 3 cards. 4, 5, 6, 7. So I know that obviously there's been some clunkiness in Brian's draws here, but this has felt good. You know. I think that is the thing. Like, the 4-color mana base is definitely less consistent, a little bit more exploitable, etc. Yeah, binding. We have the force for that. I'm not. That's in the business we call that a +1. I could Lorien Revealed. I don't think I'm ready for that. As weird as it sounds, maybe I want to ransom again. That's fine. I have the Force of Vigor for that. All right, yeah. So now my line is much more clear. I'm just going to make green mana. I will brainstorm here. If I find like a Beanstalk or something, and also I just have lands to put back. Many lands to put back. And I think I just want to hold the Sanctuary for now. Just like, I don't know what I want to get yet. Like Force of Vigor, Sword and Ransom, Lorien Revealed, these all are potentially good gets. Revealed right now is bad just because I have too many cards in hand. I mean, yeah, I'll give him a burst of mana, and then I'll Witherbloom command it and bring back Wasteland. Yeah, they play Force of Vigor. All right, I think I'm going to get back Sorin's Ransom. Grows the Murktide. And then I'm going to force this pitching Daze. This will trigger Beanstalk and draw the Sorin's Ransom. So now potentially I have the option to force pitching Ransom because it's a blue card. I have the option to cast the Ransom again. That's no good. Looks like they're going to Veil of Summer me. Less than ideal. Yeah. So the problem here is, like, if one of their last cards is Flusterstorm, then I kind of lose out big because I can't Veil. So I'm actually just going to untap, basically. I don't want to get got by Flusterstorm. Yeah, all right, so I'm going to destroy the carpet. I mill 3, return a land. Maybe I want them to mill 3 at this point. It sucks that they bring back an Uro, but it's like my graveyard is stocked. I don't want to cut off my win cons. All right, so I mill them into Loam, which is fine. I could do this now to get in a loot. Do I want to waste on them yet? What am I scared of? I'm actually going to ransom. This, like, baits out a Flusterstorm. Quote unquote. Yeah, this pile's good. Did not draw a blue card, though. That is one thing to consider. So I guess because I can't force anything, I'm just going to play out the Spell Bomb. And then I'll put a stop in their draw step. If they Dredge Loam and Millie Uro, I want to exile the yard, basically. All right, they didn't do that, so I don't care. So I could fourth for 3 guys, fourth for 4 guys. And that'd be pretty good. Fuck it. Can't play the black. That's fine. I think because I have this Force of Will in hand and I'm going to draw like a card off Beanstalk, I just don't want to get Veil of Summered. It's worth the -1. I'm so ahead on cards. Yep. Can't force, won't force. Let's see. Did we mill the Xander? Did we exile the Xander's Lounge? It's still in there somewhere. However, it would have to come into play tapped. Okay. Shit. Shit. Oh, but I can't be blocked by things with greater power. That's hilarious. You fool. You forgot. I'm the ring bearer. Yes. Okay. So you're the monarch. I will cut you off of black mana, most likely. Oh, I should have done this in the draw step. I should have had a stop in my draw step. I will play the Beanstalk. I'll ditch the Ponder. I could have taken them off double white. That might have been better. So I'll see what I draw off Beanstalk first. All right, so I can take them off of green. That seems good. That's fine. So they get the Monarchy. In my end step, I will Bowmaster. I have Force and Veil protection. Yep, I will Force of Will this. This loot's gonna be pretty good. Get some of these extra lands out of my hand. Alright, I guess I'll start with a Ponder. That's gotta be good, right? Alright, so can I do it all? I think the answer is no. Like I can't wasteland them with Witherbloom Command and bring back Murktide. It might just be fine to so you mill, drain you, black. Oh, yes I can. I'm so stupid. Alright, yeah. Get back the wasteland. Wasteland the white source. Honestly, I'm just gonna keep Forest blue card plus Veil in my hand. I don't need to tap out for Murktide here. Yeah, I mean, I'll force. Yeah, alright, cool.
Okay, so that set was a slaughter compared to the first one where it was like
Closer,
yeah,
yeah.
just like a land drop away here in the 2 games that you won. Where that one it was like a disaster. Did you update how you were playing or thinking about the matches, or did it just line up differently?
No, I didn't. So I've been swapping Leovold and Force of Vigor just like on and off. So it's like I'll have one on the other end just to A/B test. I feel like Leovold is good early game, and then Force of Vigor is better like in the mid game. Um, Force of Vigor, you wish you could play both because like the best thing to do is Force of Vigor a binding that's unleveled in response to like a cantrip or something.
Right.
But we've talked about the sideboard space being tight and like probably just not wanting to lose to Reanimator if you can avoid it. But I didn't change much. I think that the only thing I could say from like the control side is that when you play the fourth Aerlingus, it's like I know you're playing around the days, but each extra 2/2 can definitely matter, where it's like it can race or protect the monarchy better.
Right.
So like I think sometimes you just got to go with it, and like days is only a 2 of in the bug list, so it's like just hope they don't have it.
Yeah, and like I've been talking about that on my side throughout our set, where even I think knowing your list might actually be more harmful than not knowing your list, because you have this one Thoughtseize, one Spellpierce, one Stifle, 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then this removal split of Shoulder's Edict, Fatal Push, and Cut, all as 2 ofs, and it's like, what am I supposed to play around at any given time?
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't know your list, if you like stifle a fetch land in game 1, am I just playing around 4 stifles for the set, or do I somehow read that you only have one? Or like assuming, like I know you won the Legacy Challenge recently with this. This list is out there. Maybe not this 75, but I mean people know a bunch of one stifle at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like if I'm just out in the wild and peer into this and don't know anything,
Mm-hmm.
how do I even play around this? And like the just shove into days kind of thing. Like there was in our last set, I missed a draw off Beanstalk because I was playing around days.
Yeah.
My 5th mana was the critical bean trigger, and then
Mm-hmm.
you had to force. But if you daze that, I just lose. And then in this last one as well, it's like I didn't even have a Beanstalk to consider. Honestly, obviously, I just forgot how the ring works and left back a horse for no reason.
Yeah. It would have been 2 damage, but I don't think that would have changed too much.
No, definitely. I mean, that's why we test, make these mistakes and test.
Yeah.
So you don't just pearl at a turtle weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's extremely frustrating. And then in our last set, there was the spot where it was like 1 card left in hand. I'm just gonna tap out and do everything good, and then it was the days. So
Yes. Yeah. 1/ofs and 2/ofs are just hard to play around optimally. It's like just really hard to. You're always gonna play around it too much and lose equity, or play into it when it's very good. That's just I think one of the advantages of playing these 1/ofs and 2/ofs that you can look for with your cantrips. I'm not sure what there is to do about that. If there was a tried and true way to beat that, I might not play a bunch of 1s and 2/ofs, but it's worked for me in my history of brewing and testing and playing.
Right.
So
Yeah. We're gonna do one more set here, and maybe I will adjust. I have had a lot of success in my career by just always blanking days and
mm-hmm.
never give the tempo player that tempo.
Yes.
Never give them get that virtual card advantage. But this is not Delver.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of thing. Maybe I need to adjust my play, and maybe for this last set, I'll just play you don't have any of these 1 or 2 ups in your deck and see how that works out for me.
It's not a bad strategy. One thing I will say, I guess 2 quick thoughts. One, I think blanking days in general is a good idea and a good thing to learn as a control player coming up. I think because the bug deck specifically has its own card advantage engines to draw to, it's worse to do it here. It's not always incorrect, but I'm just saying it doesn't work out as well just because it's okay, you blanked a days, but it's I'm still drawing cards with Beanstalk, or Soren's Ransom, things like that. Whereas, so it's the late game is not 100% guaranteed to be in the control deck's favor, and so you don't necessarily just want to walk in there. The second thing I will say is that the games that control deck wins, it feels like it wins by a lot, and it's just very like it seems impossible from the bug side. Like I had there was like another moto grinder was talking with me, and he played this deck in some of the last chance qualifiers, and he was just like, control is unwinnable. Like, how do I ever beat this? And it was like, well, I was like, well, you know, you only played one match, you know, it's a small sample size, and so it's like it feels very swingy, where it's just like you said, like, oh, this felt really rough from the control side, but it's like when you do break out, it's just like, it's like, how is the bug deck ever supposed to stop an Uro, like an active Uro, for example? So yeah, so it's swingy, you know, just gotta get that sample size in. But yeah, let's do one more. I think that sounds good.
Right. Let's get into it.
Yep, sounds good. All right. Oh, Jesus. If I didn't know the matchup, I would obviously keep. But I do know the matchup, and this card's dead. Force without Beanstalk and having to pay your Murktide. I'm gonna mulligan this one. This is unironically better. The Brainstorm can fix our mana situation. And the Bowmaster is a good card. Yeah, they might not play Beanstalk in days. Okay, so this one goes back. This one goes back. Oh no. They're doing it. Shit. Dang it. Yeah, because I tapped out a Bowmaster mana, so it's like they can feel comfortable doing this. Basically, is what that comes down to. I guess this is fine. Like, the Thoughtseize is fine. So yeah, I definitely have to take the second Beanstalk here. They're gonna have a bunch of lands in hand. Yep. Well. Okay. Cool. This is a very solid sequence. You know, we killed their Beanstalk. We milled a Ransom, so we can fetch that back with Sanctuary if we want to. Very happy about that. So they have 3 lands, 2 Bindings Force, and 2 Unknowns. I kind of don't mind it. Let's just pull ahead a bit, you know? At least try. And they didn't play anything which could represent hardcast Force Negation, so I'm going to do this in their upkeep. At the very least, it will force them to... to tap out, and they let that go right away. We're looking for a Beanstalk. Spell Pierce Land. I don't think that does it. I don't think that's enough to win, basically. So I'm going to choose pile 2. Alright. Daze Land. So it was just kind of a weak top 4 cards, which is fine. The Daze at the very least can pick up Sanctuary. So they have 2 land, 2 bindings, a force. I don't think that was one of the lands they got back. So I think it's Misty, Tundra, these, and 2 unknowns. If the last 2 are Bowmaster plus blue card, that could be problematic for me. That being said, I'm not going to go for it. Because now they know about the Ds, so it's like... Oh, and it just worked. Pog. Let's go. Ooh, and they might not play around the second days because they know it's a 2-of. And we're both sitting at 7. Both sitting pretty at 7 cards in hand. And they have these 2 bindings, which, like, it's a good card, but, like, this is one of the things in the matchup is that removal can eat a hole in your pocket where it's like you would prefer this card as Uro, for example, right here, or like something proactive. Which like matters, you know. I mean, I have 8 cards, so I'm going to start playing things. Okay, so this is gone. Do I want to double daze this? Not really. But like, when is the daze gonna get value? Difficult. I'm gonna double daze it. It's less than ideal, you know. Because I do have the bindings in hand, but potentially getting back a Lorraine revealed could be solid. Brainstorm is a freaking incredible draw. I'm actually going to use the drop just because I don't plan on casting green cards. I do can't plan on casting non-green cards. All right, yeah. So I'll put these 2 back. Play this. And then I think I get a Trop and cast Murktide. I have a Bayou still. Phew. And if they binding the Murktide, I'm actually going to let that go. I still have 3 more in the deck, and I want to save the Force for something more impactful. Knowing they have 2 answers is kind of just like makes it rough. Yeah, that's fine. And they're not using the other binding, so feels like maybe they have a hard cast Forcible. I'm gonna start playing out Bowmasters and stuff. I have this refill button, so I want to use it, or I want to start getting cards out of my hand, basically. That's fine. So I would go to 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's too many cards. So what am I getting here? I guess I could get Thoughtseize. I don't hate that. I think I'm just gonna get Force of Will. And I'm gonna cut this 1, 2, 3, 4, just to draw some cards. Get my drawing in while the drawing's good. And I'm gonna hit the. They play Loam, so I'm not gonna hit the Xenosign because they could conceivably cycle that. I'm actually just gonna hit the Bayou. Because it Like maybe playing an escaping Uro will be more cumbersome for them. Oh no, they play waste. Shit. That's annoying actually because I can't hardcast my hardcast my forest, but they did use the wasteland, so looks like they're not interested in that, basically. So we know about binding one unknown, basically. I would force an Uro, like the escape, basically. Just start cycling my cards. Getting some damages in. I kind of just need to find... Not need to, but I want to find Murktide. Quickly. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. This time, if they escape Uro, I won't force it, just because I'm going to protect the Murktide Regent now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're past the point where Beanstalk is relevant. I'm at 18 cards in library. I will brainstorm, though, to potentially hit a land drop. Potentially even find a second Murktide. So put this back. I mean, I guess put this back. Yes, unfortunately, no second Murktide. That's okay. I could stifle that, but then I don't have... No, I could just stifle the binding. I'll respond to the trigger and push it. I want to shuffle away those lands anyway. So this one I'll force. Pitching Lorien. They get to binding. That's fine. And this is because they didn't have a Beanstalk, you know, because I was able to kill it with Witherbloom Command. They'd be drawing plenty of cards here. And now they can't have force blue card as the last two. So they're going to go to 13, take 10 down to 3. If I find... Oh, no, I've used both my dazes, so I can't daze back Sanctuary, unfortunately. But if I find my last Murktide, then I win. I just really... I really want to win the game. But no, I can't. I can't force the brainstorm just to draw some cards. I have 2 Murktides and 14 cards. Oh, maybe do I have 3 Murktides in here? Maybe I should have forced 3 Murktides and 14 cards. Good chance to find one. But I guess the brainstorm. The thing is, I would pitch the brainstorm, so it's like the brainstorm is going to see those 3 cards anyway. Okay, found it. Didn't matter. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so we brought in Force of Vigor last time. We'll bring in Leovold this time. We have yet to see the Turok, which is unfortunate because This is the other card that is like on the chopping board. It's like one of these three I want to cut from the deck. But I think this one's too good against initiative just because of the pro white. So it's like you can't solitude it or swords it, and it can like help fight the initiative. So I think it's a little too good. A little too good to play, or not play. A little too good to cut from the deck because initiative is popular and it's really good, and etc. etc. So I said force negation and then the Thoughtseize. Okay, cool. Let's check out this deed. I hope to see the deed come into play, just because that's another one I'm quote unquote concerned about. Thinking about like maybe it should be force negation because you hold up mana a lot, and hard casting it's pretty straightforward. And again, of course, you don't want to hit your stuff if you're ahead, but I guess if you're ahead, you're ahead. So like whatever. And then like it's a safety valve against fourth Aerlingus. Like it's like, okay, I'm ahead. I have more Beanstalks, etc. How do I lose? I lose to fourth Aerlingus. So just play out the deed. And I think it's better than Hydroblast just because it's like you don't want to hold up a blue mana every turn for the whole game, and they only play like the one red card usually, 1 or 2 fourth, maybe 1 Pyroblast. I hate this hand. I've been mulliganing a lot. I think we've seen that pay off just because it's like these hands that don't really do anything. They don't like apply too much pressure or too much card advantage, and like having to force without Beanstalk in play or Mark II without Beanstalk tends to be pretty bad. This is usually a mulligan. So yeah, I'm going to look for something better. This is better. I will bottom this for now. We don't want that till much later in the game. What? Interesting. Oh! Let's go! Basic Swamp, OP. And I'll just run this out. This is our only piece of Graveyard Hate for Uro. It used to be an Endurance for a long time, and then I kind of realized that, like, shit. Endurance can be kind of clunky to play. Like, 3 mana is a lot to spend in the control mirror, and then your green count is actually very low versus things like Reanimator. So it was like Endurance was just almost never on versus Reanimator for me. I do think Endurance was like a tiny bit better versus Delver just because like it was a creature that blocked Bowmaster while hurting Reanimate strategies. Yeah, that's fine. I have that covered. If you... oh, okay. That I can handle. It's not Loam, No! Don't do that. Oh my god. Am I drawing a card and taking a Bowmaster ping? Yeah, whatever. Man, this Force of Vigor card is really good. Alright, so what are we hitting? I guess the black. Next turn we'll Bowmaster their Bowmasters. And we'll feel bad about it. Okay. Alright, this one's not going so well. I think we're going to have a game 3. Yeah. Ooh. Yep. That'll do it. It's a good sequence. Maybe I could have forced that. Maybe I should have forced that. I'm in rough shape. Yeah. I have no recourse. I'm gonna get a drop. Play out. Yeah. Yeah, I probably should have forced the Veil just to kill the Bowmaster, but because I think we're just going to die to. We're just gonna die to the 3/3 at this point. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that Force of Vigor was so good. What did they pitch? They pitched an Uro for it. That's fair. It's a good card in the matchup for sure. Oh, Jesus. All right. I think we're dead. We would need some really good top decks. I don't play it. I don't even know what we draw here. I'm not playing up the Sanctuary. I feel like I need to get lucky with that one. Maybe playing out the first Bowmaster was the mistake. I could see that. Oh, okay. No, this works. This works. I'm still dead. Alright, I can see. Dang it. Alright, yeah. So maybe playing out the first Bowmaster was the mistake there. I didn't want my carpet mana to go to waste, but like I don't know. And my thought process was I don't want them to cantrip or like play Uro or stuff like that. Maybe I just don't play the carpet there and just hold a Bowmaster. I think that would have been better. Just not play the carpet there and hold a Bowmaster. So yeah. Looking back. If Pernicious D would have been good there. Alright. Alright. Ooh. We didn't draw the Leobold that game, so I'm gonna keep it in. Again, just see how it plays out. Leobold's like kind of interesting versus Bowmaster, where it's like they ping you, you can choose to draw. If you choose to draw, they ping you again. You can choose to draw again. So like you draw some cards, but like you do give them the big guy, you know? I'll get a Trop. Actually, maybe I get a Bayou. Because like what they could do is they could go Savannah Carpet of their own, and then they don't need to fetch blue mana for a while. So I'm just gonna do this. See? Alright. I was gonna say if we draw Force of Will, then I'll play out the Beanstalk, like 100%. And if we don't, I have to think about it because I don't want to get got by Force of Vigor again. All right, we're cruising. We're in good shape. Now, if they play a Beanstalk of their own, it gets a little trickier. I don't have a great answer to it right now. They didn't do that, though, so... Alright. In my draw step, I'll put a stop. Decide if I want to waste on them. I do. Alright. things are going good. The carpet meant I didn't have to fetch an island, so I didn't have to feed their carpet. I'm going to make the trade. A 2/2 is just like so much more annoying to deal with than a 1/1. Like if they ever find a second Bowmaster, I just don't like dealing with the 2/2. This deck doesn't do it as good. It's fine. It triggers Bowmasters. I'm not going to not, you know. And if we draw a mana source here, we can cast Lorien Revealed, which is sick. We'll fetch the basic swamp here, and we'll give you 1 mana. So we have double black. We have 1 green, so let's get a drop. The old draw 4. Pretty good. Now we have a Force of Will to protect things. Murktide's coming up. They have a green source, though. Putting a green in the pool. I wonder what that means. Second Beanstalk. I mean, I have 2 Bowmasters in hand. I guess I just don't care. Or I have 1 Bowmaster in hand, I should say. Yeah. Trying to figure out what's better to hit here. If it's the black source or the green source. Maybe the white source. They are all... No, I like my stuff. I want to keep it. Obviously, they could have Fluster here. That's fine. So we're going to make blue mana green for bean. Green for bean. We'll do the full delve. And that just happened. I guess at this point that means I want to hit the white source. So I can play out Spellbomb. This can help me against like Life in the Loam. I'm actually just going to do it now to play around Bowmaster a bit. Ooh, baby. There's Turok. We've super won the game already. It doesn't matter, but like, there's Turok. Okay, so right now, Leyline Binding costs 3 mana, which is exactly what they have. I felt kind of bad not playing out the Bowmasters just because it's like, if they have a Leyline Binding, then they get to draw cards unpunished. But I felt like they're kind of struggling for mana. And so if they have like their Loam, it's better to cut them off. That's fine. All right, well. And they don't have lands, so we're going to strip them off of that. Cast with Kicker. Solid. We will hit this and then just Mill myself, return Wasteland, kill the carpet. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That was a slaughter. Turok, good, but like not relevant. Because we'd already won, but if the game was closer, probably pretty good. But yeah, that was last match. Alright, welcome back to the end of set review. So obviously this went pretty well. We did get there in all of our matches. I think our matches were also a pretty good showcase of the different types of things that can happen in this matchup, where sometimes the bug deck will mana deny the opponent or color screw the opponent to keep a key spell out of their hand. And when they get their mana back under their feet, the window is passed for its relevancy. We also saw some times where the control deck did something that got out of hand and Bug wasn't able to contain it. So like with Uro coming back again and again, or a Bowmaster unchecked. Bowmaster unchecked definitely less common than Uro, just because we have so many answers for Bowmaster that don't exist for Uro, basically. And then we also saw games where the Bug deck was able to just outcard the control deck just through, making your Beanstalks resolve, having answers to theirs, stuff like that. I think we kind of came to the conclusion that Leovold v. Force is probably a little bit better. So that's the one I'm going to go with moving forward. And unfortunately, I forgot to hit record during our last debrief, but that's just all the more reason for you to go and watch Brian's video. He has all of our matches and debriefs from his point of view. And obviously he's a very good content creator, puts out a lot of content. And I wanted to say thanks for doing this with me, both playing the games and recording it. This was a lot of fun to make. This type of content is definitely more in-depth, more in the weeds. But I think for the people that appreciate that sort of stuff, it's very difficult to find. So I was happy that we could make it. And yeah, those are the games. Hope you all enjoyed. Bye, guys.